What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new commentary video. And before this video gets started, I first of all just want to say thank you guys so much for the support on the last video. It does mean a lot to me. I also just want to mention that there was a lack of uploads because me and Noah were meeting in person for the first time. And the original plan is that we wanted to record a bunch of content. We did record some stuff which we will be releasing soon, but also we wanted to just, spend time together because we've been friends for years and, you guys get it. But anyways, we're going to hop right into things. But as always, there is a link to buy W Energy down in the description. There's also a link to join our Discord. Let's get right into this. So today we got a bit of a different thing. I seen a news headline today that I really wanted to talk about. And it's not about politics. It's mental health adjacent. So I read this headline and it immediately caught my eye. So at Oxford University, there was a body of a young man discovered in one of their student parking garages today. And I read through some of the articles that sort of talked about what happened. It turns out that the student was a victim of cancel culture. This isn't going to be me giving a commentary on cancel culture because that's not what this story is about. Like some people on the right of politics want to make it seem. The story is much sadder than that. And I think that it really, especially when it comes to men, really shows an issue that we have currently in the United States. College mentions here in the article that they were not made aware of the issue going on campus with this student. This has been an issue that we've experienced in the mental health field for decades. It's nothing new that men tend to not reach out for help. This isn't a secret. They're disproportionately more likely to sort of ignore their mental health issues. And I personally felt when reading through this article about this young man that it's something that I wanted to talk about. For a long time, we've had this stigma that men are supposed to be strong. And I've talked about this a lot, that we are really the first kind of generation that is getting away from that. However, we can't reach that goal if we aren't reaching for a better tomorrow. And we need to be able to make it clear to men that it's okay to feel these emotions. It's okay to need help. And that's really what I want to talk about today, is that it's okay to ask for help. There are multiple resources online that I'm going to put down in the description, specifically focusing on men's mental health. Because unfortunately, a lot of resources in mental health sort of gear themselves towards women. And there's nothing wrong with that, because men and women, when it comes to their mental health, tend to be very different. And I think that's something that some people don't like to address. With how men handle emotional situations, it's quite different than women. And I talked about this a while ago about how, some therapists, when they see a man come through their door, they understand that this man has been struggling for years or even decades. And that's honestly the exact same thing that we're seeing here, is that when you have a society of young men that feel that they have no one to reach out to, and that when you have these situations where somebody is being quote unquote canceled for something that they've either done or said in their past, unfortunately, it's a mental health crisis. And when you look at these university students who are currently in school, are really sort of this first generation dealing with cancel culture. Cancel culture is still such a new idea that we really don't know how it affects society. We don't know how it affects social norms. But what I can tell you is that I know people that use the term, I'm gonna be canceled. And some people I know have a constant fear of it. I remember when we started this channel a long time ago, that was something that we talked about a bit. How would we handle that situation? Because me and Noah are both people that aren't racist, we're not pedophiles, we're not fucking sexists. We know these things, but does the internet know that? And how do we handle that? And we've had several conversations about how to handle that. And, some people will say, if you're being canceled, you deserve it, but we gotta understand something. That's not always the case. And unfortunately, in the case of the internet, it's sort of guilty until proven innocent. And my fear is that when you sort of give this idea that people are evil, we give this idea of people are not deserving of a second chance, people aren't deserving of, these ideas that are basically, you are not perfect. And that you're a racist, you're a sexist, you're a homophobic, whatever it may be, for something you may have said in the past or something that you may not have said at all. When you take these ideas and we say that if you break any of these rules, you don't deserve to have a life. You don't deserve to have an education. You don't deserve to have a job. You don't deserve to be loved. When we take these ideas and we use it with multiple celebrities, and then we start taking it to the level of universities of impressionable 19-year-olds, unfortunately, it's going to result in tragedy. And if we're not going to start a conversation with mental health professionals about sort of the impact that cancel culture is going to have on the overall mental health of America, we lose. We genuinely lose this sort of war with ourselves and the internet. We've talked about it for a long time about how is the internet going to impact the youth. And it's literally been a conversation since the early 2000s. You know, with the invention of 4chan, people like Chris Chan becoming so prolific on the internet, and kids unfortunately killing themselves with other people on the internet. That's not something that's rare. There's multiple instances of kids unfortunately taking their own lives in Discord calls, or students being told by cult leaders that they need to kill themselves. It's unfortunately something that we ignore. It's unfortunately something that we decide that it's not happening and we ignore it. And when we ignore something, we don't solve it. And I think that this needs to be an example of it's time to wake up. It's time that we start putting more resources into mental health facilities, specifically gearing towards mental health awareness on the internet. Because the thing is that as the internet grows and it becomes more and more popular, there's more and more echo chambers. TikTok is full of echo chambers. Currently, right now, I'm going to use a bit of a silly example. When it comes to memes, I've seen something that really sort of put it in a great perspective. Right now, you probably either know who the Costco guys are, or you know about Skibbity Toilet, right? You might know about both, but you're probably seeing one more than the other. And for me, the Costco guys is one where I don't see much of them, but I know who they are, but I hear these little lore bits, and I'm like, what the fuck are we talking about? And when we have these echo chambers, more echo chambers are created, we're going to lose that fight more and more. And it's a major issue that we need to step up to, both at home, both at school, and both in the government. We need more mental health intervention online. Because the issue is that these companies like to pretend that they do. You know, you'll have Facebook say that they flag posts that are considering self-harm or these things. Well, it's done by a bot. It's done by a bot. A bot doesn't understand human emotion. There's plenty of examples of bots taking down posts that'll be like, I lost a Dragon Ball Z sparking match, killing myself tonight. I've seen this. I seen one the other day. And then Twitter flagged it and it was deleted. You see the issue here? That's clearly a joke. This person may be struggling, partially joking, but we know that they're probably not going to kill themselves. But people genuinely begging for mental health advice and help don't receive it. They're cryptic messages. And unfortunately, we're in an era where more and more people are feeling alone. And so when they turn to the internet for that help, that support, that friend group, it becomes more and more dangerous if we continue to ignore it. And especially at a university like Oxford. Oxford is a university that sort of prides itself on its diverse community, helping out students with mental health, all these different things that they're claiming. Are they really? Was there ever a point where this student was reached out to? I'm aware that they weren't made aware of the situation, but is that true? Was there no tip-offs that, hey, this student is being canceled? Because let's be real here, we don't know all the facts yet. We don't. It's only been a few hours since this has been reported. But here's the issue. This student felt so overwhelmed by being canceled on the internet that he took his own life. What was said? We need that information. We need to know how far this is being reached. Because unfortunately, if it's too big at some point, we need to look at Oxford itself and see that there's a systemic problem going on at its university's health facilities. But health at this point needs to go beyond STD testing for 18-year-olds. Like, I think that's something that we sort of forget too, is that health in general is evolving a lot. It's changing a lot. It's gonna change a lot too. We need to be able to have conversations and figure out what the fuck is going on. And we need to figure it out fast. And it's kind of scary. It's scary as somebody that cares a lot about mental health when I read stories like this and the universities or the high schools or the middle schools immediately go to, we didn't know. Show us that you didn't know. I need evidence showing that you didn't know. Unfortunately, we see it with school shootings, where these students that have clearly been struggling with mental health for a very long time and have very major red flags aren't given the support that they need. There is no intervention. Instead, we like to pretend like we're going to take action afterwards. That can't be the case when you are putting the lives of children, young adults, and society in general in their hands. We need to be more proactive. We need to be able to stop it at the source rather than try to figure out a solution after the tragedy happens. And we like to ignore them until after it happens. So we need to look more at warning signs rather than figuring out a solution after the events. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I just kind of wanted to talk about this today because, once again, after I read that article, I kind of just wanted to talk about it a bit and share my thoughts on it. And once again, I want to give condolences to the family of this young man. And once again, I hope that universities try to do better. I really do. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, if you are interested, there's a link to join our Discord down in the description. There's also a link to buy W Energy. You can get 10% off with our code or the link in the description. Also, don't forget to subscribe. It would help out a ton. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, have a good rest of your day, and I will see you in a few days. Peace!